Here I am. Here I am. I am today back in the chair as you see. And the topic is Noah and God. Hmm? Let's go to Noah and God. God has made up his mind in earlier chapters in Genesis, and you're only going to have very few chapters to look at. And I'm going to open here and take out a Bible. This is a Bible, whether you believe it or not. Yes, it's covered with what's called duct tape. Mhm. It's covered. You can see right here that I've got my Bible. This Bible was printed in 1985. That's what it says. I'm opening to the cover. I'm going to read to you from the cover of this Bible, copyrighted 1978 by Thomas Nelson. This edition published in 1985. This book right here in my hand, I've had it for 40 years. 40 years. So I'm going to look in this book and I'm going to find in it Noah. You can find Noah. You won't find Noah until you get to in the chapter of Genesis, chapter 5. Chapter 5 in Genesis begins with the book of the generations of Adam. Now, what you going to find in this book? This first part of this book, you're going to find the generations of Adam. It's not that difficult, folks. The generations of Adam. Chapter 5. And you're going to have a number of men named. You're going to have. Let me just go through them. If you just bear with me, please. You got Adam. And then you have Seth. And then you have Enosh. And then you have Kenan. And then you have Mahalalel, or Mahallalel. All these are names. I've just named 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe 5. And Mahal had a son, and his name is Jared. And Jared had a son who he named Enoch. And it says Enoch had a son that he named Methuselah. And so on and so on. And Lamech lived 182 years, 182 years without a child. Lamech lives 182 years. I'm not 82. I will be 78 in a number of days. Should I live that long? That's what I will be. But this man His name is Lamech, lived 182 years and became the father of a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, this one shall give us rest from our work. I'm reading to you from years ago. This is thousands of years ago. We're in the year 5,000. We're almost got to the 6,000 years since God made Adam. And you got the number of years here that these people lived. And Noah, this one shall give us rest from our work. And from what? And from the toil of our hands. Because what? The ground which the Lord has cursed. God cursed the ground. Before Adam and Eve got anything to wear, people, you can get a Bible. You got chapter 5 and you got chapter 3. And in chapter 3, God cursed the ground. That's what it says. Cursed is the ground because of you. That's what he says. Cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. I just read it, folks. I read it from right there, off of that page. Now, are you following me? This is about Adam and God in chapter 3. But in chapter 6, you're going to get to find out something between God and Noah. Noah, this one that's born right here in chapter 5 by Lamech. Noah was 500 years old. 500 years old. And somebody says, well, that wasn't years like you and I got. Yes, it was years like you and I have. The years haven't changed because of the flood, folks. There's a certain number of days that makes up a year. It's been that way from the beginning. Because if it hasn't been that way, it can't be that way now. Listen to this. Noah became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now these boys, these 3 boys right here that I just named, are not born until Noah is 500 years old. And I know that seems unbelievable to you. It can seem unbelievable to me, but I've got to believe it, folks. Why do I make these videos? Why do I do anything today? Because I want people to know the truth. But the people just don't seem to want to know the truth. But irregardless of that fact, I'm going to go further. It says in chapter 6, somebody had multiplied on the face of the earth. And it wasn't angels. Angels were not giving birth to babies. And angels still do not give birth to babies. They don't. The only thing that gives birth to babies is what God created when he put Adam to sleep. I don't care what man has done with his, mind and ways. But there's one thing for sure. It's God Almighty that is fixing to talk to this man named Noah, whom Lamech, his father, had said, this one will. How will this one do it? This one shall give us rest from our work and from the toil of our hands. Lamech lived 595 years after he became the father of Noah. And it's the same years as you and I. If I have a year, you have a year, these people had a year, but God, he didn't count his age in years. Mm-mm. And you don't count angels' age by years, but you do count what? Human beings are aged. You got it? I'm at the 12-minute mark, but I'm going to finish this video and it's not going to take an hour. I don't believe it's going to take an hour. I don't. Now, Noah, a man named by Lamech. You got his lineage. You got the fathers before him. I just went through them. And now he has become the father of 3 sons. And he's 500 years old. Now what? Noah is 500 years old, and Lamech has named his son 500 years earlier. Noah wasn't named until Lamech's wife gave birth to the baby. You don't name babies. You may, think about names, but you can do all you want to do. But until this baby is born and given a name, the baby is just baby. But Noah was named, and Lamech said, when the boy was born, this one will. Does he know how? No. But does he say it? Yes. He said it. I read it. Now, the Lord here in chapter 6 is none other than God Almighty. It's him. It's God Almighty. I mean, Noah's father before the father walked with God. Now, this man has died, or he could be still alive. I'm sure Methuselah saw Noah. Methuselah saw Noah. Methuselah saw his grandson. Methuselah was the father of Lamech, who was the father of Noah. Just thought I'd throw that in. And Methuselah saw this baby born, the one named Noah. And now, at 500 years of age, God is talking to Noah and tells him what is going to happen. It's in this chapter right here, chapter 6. The Lord was sorry that he had made man, and he was grieved in his heart and said, I will blot out. What does blot out mean to you? Well, if you want to find out what it meant to at this time, you just need to read a little bit further in chapter 6. Because God says to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me. The earth is filled with violence, and I am about to destroy them with the earth. And somebody says, well, you can say well all the times you want to. But the fact is, God is going to tell Noah and give him some instructions. And Noah is going to follow the instructions. Because God told him, the Lord told him in verses 15 through the 16, how to build the ark. Now, God is going to be with this man. God is going to watch this man. God is going to give instructions to this man. And this man, Noah, is going to build an ark. And you can read about this because it says in chapter 7, God said to Noah, enter the ark. God said to him. Noah is going to obey God. He's going to enter the ark where his sons are, his wife will be, and the animals that are on the earth that are going to live are going to come into this one space of ever how many cubits long, wide, and tall. Every living thing on the earth is going to be in this ark. And you should believe it. I want you to believe it. I hope you believe it. And Noah and the animals got into the ark because God said, I have seen you enter the ark, you and all your household. For you I have seen to be righteous before me at this time. That's what God said. Jesus did not say anything because there has been no Jesus. Just thought I'd throw that in. You've only got certain number of men named. That's all you got. You got the names of a certain number of men. Adam's wife, Eve. I don't know. Adam and Eve. It doesn't tell you the name of another man's wife. Not at this time. And God tells him, you are righteous. And these things got in the ark. In verse 4, for after 7 more days, I will send. It says here, rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will blot out from the face of the land every living thing that I have made. Now, who made it? Tell me, who made it? Do you know who made it? I know who made it. You should know who made it. If you've listened to me, you should know who made it. If you've got a Bible, if you got a book that's got these 7 chapters in it, you should know something yourself. If you don't, I wonder why. You must have never opened the book and read 6 chapters. But I'm in the 7th chapter, and it says, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, the same day, all the fountains of the great deep burst open, and the floodgates of the sky were opened. Now, does that sound like rain? All I can tell you is the word rain is in here, but it's not going to rain because there's never been a cloud in the sky, folks. There had never been a cloud in the sky. There had never been a cloudy day. But since the flood, we've had some clouds. Okay. Let me go on here. On that very day, the rain didn't fall. It says the floodgates of the sky were opened, and water came forth, and it covered the earth. But Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives were where? They were in the ark that had a roof on it, and it had a window and a door. And the flood came upon the earth for 40 days, and the water increased and lifted up the ark, so it rose over the earth, over the tops of the mountains. And the water prevailed, and everything was covered. The water prevailed 15 cubits higher than the mountains. That's what you'll find out. And all flesh that moved on the earth perished. Birds, cattle, beasts, everything died. The only thing alive is in the ark. And the water prevailed upon the earth 150 days. God remembered Noah in chapter 8. And the water receded from the earth, and at the end of 150 days, the water decreased. And the water decreased steadily until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains became visible. The tops of mountains became visible. Then it came about at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark, and he sent out a raven, and it flew here and there until the water was dried up from the earth. The bird did not return. Then he sent out a dove to see if the water was abated from the face of the land. And the dove found no resting place, and she returned to him, and he brought the bird back into the ark. I just read to you out of chapter 8. And then he waited yet another 7 days and sent the dove, but the dove did not return to him again. Now, it came about in the 601st year, in the first month, on the first of the month, the water was dried up from the earth. Then Noah removed the covering of the ark, and in the second month, on the 27th day of the month, God spoke to Noah and said something. Go out of the ark. You and your wife and your sons wives with you. And all of the animals came out of the ark, and God caused things to grow out of the ground. And Noah did something. And it says in verse 21, the Lord smelled the soothing aroma. And some statements are made. And then in chapter 9, God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. And the fear of you and the terror of you shall be on every beast of the earth and on every bird of the sky, and with everything that creeps on the ground, and the fish of the sea. Into your hand I have given them. And guess what, folks? God hasn't taken back. God blessed Noah, made a covenant. You can find out about the rainbow if you read carefully. Then you're going to find out about the descendants of Noah. So you really don't have to worry about Adam anymore.